Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your Human Design Evolution Report. The Sun is transiting in the 33rd hexagram, the Earth in the 19th, giving us a continuation of a perfect collaboration of energies from the planets to help us redefine the stories of our identity, redefine the stories of our life, redefine the stories of who we perceive ourselves to be so that we can begin to consciously and deliberately create what we truly want to be creating in our lives. This 33rd energy in human design is called retreat. In the traditional I Ching, it's called withdrawal. It is an interesting energy because it's an energy that is about knowing when to let go and knowing when to move forward. A long time ago, I used to teach parenting classes, and we used to teach parents how to manage the energy of power struggle. If you're a parent, if you've ever had kids, or if you've been a kid yourself, you know that there are times when you either power struggle with your parents, or as a parent, you power struggle with your kids. And when you get locked in power struggle, right, and you're going, yes, you will, and your child is saying, no, you won't, yes, you will, no, you won't, there's not actually any progress being made because you've reached an impasse. And it's an impasse that ultimately, if you don't figure out how to stop it, can actually tear the fabric of the relationship that you have with your child. The energy of withdrawal is very similar to learning to get out of power struggle. You are potentially engaged in a power struggle with yourself based on whatever stories you may be telling yourself. You may be wrestling with an inner knowing that, oh, this isn't the right story for me, this doesn't fit, I'm trying to be something I'm not, something is uncomfortable in me, my body's not cooperating, my health isn't cooperating, my relationships aren't cooperating, my partner's not cooperating, my money's not cooperating. Whatever it might be, we are oftentimes locked in a power struggle with our own inner sense, our own identity, and that conflict comes sometimes between the truth of who we are and the truth of who perhaps we've been told to be. And the job right now is for you to figure out a story that actually allows you to sync those two up better, for you to take the stories of who you should be or who you perceive yourself to be and bring them more in alignment with the truth of who you really are. But to do that this week, especially to do that this week with the 19 in the Earth, means that there's a very high probability this week that our sensitivity, because we're deeply sensitive this week, we're sensitive, we're intuitive, we're attuned with the force. We feel when things don't feel right, or we feel when our own needs and wants, even our needs and wants for intimacy, aren't being met, and we're feeling lonely, or we're feeling kicked out, or we're feeling misunderstood, or as if somehow we've not connected to something, or maybe people will actually even say or do things that might trigger you. That triggering that comes with this sensitivity in the Earth is actually a gift. So first of all, this week, remember, anybody or anything that triggers you, thank them, bless them, because they're bringing to your awareness where perhaps you may have a story that's keeping you locked in combat or power struggle with yourself. So bless them and thank them. Honor your sensitivity. Recognize that hand in hand with that sensitivity comes a need for retreat, a need to withdraw, to contemplate, to not react, but to instead go, okay, if I want to tell a different story about what's happening in my relationship, or what's happening with my money, or what's happening with my health, what do I need to do to create a different story around this? Where do I need to retreat from this mortal combat I've been locked in with myself? That's the first piece. The second thing, and the way this can play out, because the 19 in the Earth can also be really powerful relationship energy. It is truly the energy of intimacy. So relationships may also be kind of front and center this week in our awareness. And because that energy is not just the need for intimacy, but it is, again, deeply sensitive, we may be sensing and feeling when things are not in sync with our relationships. Now, I have to take a little side trip in this little dialogue with you and remind you that if your relationship isn't showing up the way you want it to, you have two options. Number one, you either create a revolution in your life and you get the heck out of Dodge and stop putting up with stuff that isn't serving the worthiness and the lovability of who you really are. Or, number two, and I would encourage you to do this first, you need to take a little journey in front of the mirror and ask yourself, is what's happening in my relationship a reflection of my own love of myself? Am I allowing less than what I'm worthy of? Am I allowing less love than I deserve? Am I not allowing myself to receive support? Am I pushing away intimacy? Is there something going on in my own relationship with myself that's showing up in my relationship with my partners? Are there stories from my past, particularly around relationship and my energies with partnerships, that are continuing to reestablish and re-engage myself in the same situation, same kind of relationship, same woman, same man, different body, right? Are you having a relationship with the same theme over and over again in different people? The energy of the 33 is not only about redefining the story, telling a new story, a story where you are worthy and valuable and precious, where you deserve to be taken care of, where you deserve intimacy and connection and all that good stuff that comes from love and being in relationship. But it's also about making sure that you have done your forgiveness work too, and you're not holding on to a story that involves you being a victim, you being powerless, you not trusting yourself, you not being supported. Is there some way that you can take a step back from the story that you're telling yourself to get a different point of view, a different perspective, so that you're not locked in repetitive cycles of the same old stories over and over and over again? This 33 energy is located on the G center, which is the center for love and direction. So if your life isn't taking you where you want it to go, your identity is part of what's creating the direction. If you want to go in a different direction, you got to redefine the identity of who you perceive yourself to be. And that means you cannot go full on, head first into the next relationship, the next opportunity, the next whatever, with the same attitude, the same story, the same mindset, because it's just science, quantum science, that you're just going to keep collapsing the same quantum potential out of the quantum field into your manifested reality over and over and over again. And I bet if you're not happy, you probably are ready for something different. So one of my favorite interpretations of the 33rd hexagram in the Chinese I Ching is this: for anything to endure, it must yield before change. Meaning, if you want to create something sustainable, a sustainable relationship, sustainable finances, sustainable resources, sustainable vitality, sustainable passion, if you want to be sustainable, you can't be rigid. You can't rigidly adhere to a story that's not serving you anymore. So if you want to receive change, you want to be in the flow of creating something different, you have to retreat and redefine the story so that you can go back out and do it in a different way. So themes for this week: forgiveness. Number 2, you're sensitive, intuitive, trust yourself. If it doesn't feel good, retreat. Retreat before you react. Ask yourself in the mirror, is there something going on with me that's creating this? Or is this a situation where I perhaps need to create a revolution? Do I need to get out? Ask yourself, take an inventory about your own love worthiness. Is the story you're telling yourself worthy of who you truly are? Are you telling a story that is an accurate reflection of the magnificence of who you are? Give yourself the continued break this week, the continued retreat, to rewrite your stories so that the stories you're telling yourself are true and are a true reflection of your value and the preciousness of who you truly are. If you retreat, I suspect this week you will continue to uncover revolutionary answers, new stories that will help you create what you're really worthy of in your life right now. And then, here's the thing I want you to work on this week too. Don't just rewrite the story about yourself. Let's all collectively work on rewriting the story about the world. Let's write a story about the world where we are abundant, where we are empowered, where we are equitable, where we are sustainable, where everyone gets what they need, where we collaborate creatively in a way that promotes peace, love, wellness, vitality, and all those good things on this planet. So take some time this week to not only craft a story for yourself, but let's talk about crafting, rewriting a story for the world and the experiences that we're collectively manifesting in this world, on this planet right now. Let's do it differently. Let's do it even better. Have a great week.